Sometimes in life, there's an incident so traumatic, tragic, or just plain terrifying that it leaves a lasting imprint on the world around it. In some cases, the places that it happened will become haunted, or a pivotal object can become cursed. Today, we're going to talk about one such object, the Devil's Rocking Chair. The chair is mentioned multiple times in one of the most well-known cases of possession that has ever been documented. The possession was thrust into the public in 1981 when Arn Cheyenne Johnson tried to use the plea of not guilty by reason of demonic possession for his murder trial. Arn claimed that he came under possession due to him challenging the 43 demons possessing his 11-year-old future brother-in-law, David Glatzel. Hello, and welcome to my channel, Horror, History, and Haunting. I'm your host, Christina, and in this video, I'm going to tell you a story based on my own personal research and let you be the final judge on whether it's really fact or fiction. If dark mystery is your cup of tea and you're morbidly curious like myself, please hit that subscribe button so you won't miss anything I would be posting in the future. And if you want me to make more of this specific type of content, please hit that like button. It helps me a lot and I appreciate all the support. Today, most of the information I will be discussing is from the book The Devil in Connecticut, written by Gerald Brittle and Lorraine Warren, and the recent coverage of the Devil's Rocking Chair being found in place for public viewing by Zach Bagans at his haunted museum. This is part 3 of my 3-part video series on the subject. If you've not watched part 1 about the possession of David Glatzel and part 2 about the possession of Arn Johnson, I would definitely urge you to go back, watch them first to be able to fully know the terrifying story of where the Devil's Rocking Chair came from. The chair is a simple wooden rocking chair with some small embellishments with a yellow gold colored back and seat cushion with visible stains on it. The stains are reportedly from the anointing oil and the holy water used when trying to exorcise the demons out of David in 1980 to 1981. They believe it was made in the 1950s, but no one knows where or who made it. It was in the Glatzel's home sometime before the possession of David Glatzel. Zach Bagans purchased the chair for a whopping $67,000. Along with the chair, he was given 2 statuary and various rosary and religious objects given to the family by the church and the Warrens, which are also part of the display, along with one of the actual recordings of the family trying to expel the demons themselves in the home. I found it interesting that the person he bought the items from was Carl Glatzel Jr., David's older brother, who tried to sue the authors of the book The Devil in Connecticut, Gerald Brittle and Lorraine Warren, in 2010 in his and his brother David's name, and was really the only one that claimed that David and Arn were never possessed and the family was suffering from some kind of hysteria brought on by an undiagnosed mental illness of David's. But if he really believed that, why would you keep all these items for all these years and then sell them to a haunted museum? Also, coincidentally, within hours of Mr. Bagans buying the chair, Lorraine Warren unfortunately passed away. The chair is mentioned 6 different places in the book, The Devil in Connecticut. Zach Bagans also has these passages on display at the Haunted Museum in the exhibit for the Devil's Rocking Chair. The first mention of the rocking chair was on Sunday, July 6th, after Mass, during the first week of David's possession, and it's located on page 67 and 68 of the book. David then came inside and said, "Mommy, the beast told me to tell you he doesn't want you talking about ways to get rid of him. He says there's no way you're going to get him out." "Who said that's what we were talking about?" Judy asked, suppressing her astonishment. "Debbie and I were talking about baking cakes." "No, you weren't," David insisted. The beast has been in the house listening to you all this time. He told me what you said. He's in the house? Judy asked angrily. Where? Right there in the living room, David said, without hesitation. He's sitting in the rocking chair. Judy quickly looked to where David was pointing. Good God, she whispered. The empty chair was rocking back and forth in the middle of the living room. All right, David, go back outside, Judy instructed. Judy immediately went to her bedroom and got the small bottle of holy water, which she refilled in church that morning. She cast a handful onto the rocking chair. In the name of Jesus, get out of this house and stay out, she said. The rocking chair abruptly stopped moving. The second time it is mentioned in the book is after Ed and Lorraine Warren came to the house trying to help the family, and it's located on page 110 and 111. David, Ed said, you say this thing you call the beast has something like 40 others with it. Where are they right now? Most of them are upstairs in the attic, in the rafters, where it's hot. They like the hot. His two main helpers are outside in the front. They tripped you and Dr. Tony when you came up the steps. How do you know that? Ed asked quickly. The beast told me, David answered. And where's the beast now? Ed asked. In the living room, sitting in the rocking chair. The rocking chair is his, he says. How do you know the beast is in there? Lorraine asked. David's back was to the living room, and the door was closed. Because since they came, I can see through walls. You can see through walls? I couldn't at first, but now I can all the time. What's he doing in the living room? Ed asked. He's listening to what we're saying. He doesn't like you. He doesn't want you here. The third mention in the book happened while the family tried to fight the demon themselves inside their home. It's located on page 144 and 145. It's not doing any good, Shy, talking to Arn Johnson. He's back. See, he's in the rocking chair, David announced. Apparently it was. They all saw the rocking chair suddenly moving back and forth. He's not there, Arn remarked defiantly. A stomping sound was heard. He just stomped on the floor with his hooves, reported David. This was also followed by 3 knocks. Okay, said Arn. He gets another bath. Arn threw holy water on the chair, causing the rocking to stop. Frustrated, Arn looked around the room, and then suddenly he stood immobilized, gazing at the front door. For the first time he saw the beast. The manifestation was only that of the head, which appeared to be as big as the door. Its eyes were large and black, and wholly consuming. It had high cheekbones, the semblance of a goatee, and sharp, broken teeth, evident because the figure was noiselessly laughing at him. The whole head glowed, changing from pink to brown to scarlet red. Upon being seen, the appalling countenance blurred into a globe of light, then dissipated. Look out, Cheyenne, Debbie suddenly yelled out. As Arn spun around, the rocking chair was rising into the air. He's going to throw it at you, said David frantically. Arn lurched forward and pressed the levitating chair back down to the floor. The fourth mention was when Father Grasso first came to investigate the case, and you can find that on page 153. Father Grasso got up and walked over to where David sat in the rocking chair. The priest was about 3 steps from the boy when suddenly a coarse snarling ensued from the boy's body. Father Grasso turned white. He slowly backed away, and he sat back down in his chair again. The fifth mention happened right after David's mother, Judy, was savagely attacked by the demon possessing David's body. And the Warrens were called in. They arrived at the home. And this is on page 171. The Warrens walked through the kitchen over to the living room doorway. There, sitting in the rocking chair that the beast had claimed as his own, with his head bowed down and his chin to his chest, was the possessed child. Yet the horrid spectacle of his takeover was not readily apparent until Ed Warren called David by name. Then the entity and the child slowly looked up at the Warrens, and the tragedy became clear. David's face was totally transformed. What looked out at them was a being of a different order. And finally, the last mention of the Devil's Rocking Chair was on September 8th by Ed Warren when he went to the house while David, his sister Debbie, his brother Alan, and his mother were at the convent house with the 4 priests as they tried to exorcise the demons out of David. This you can find on page 216. When I got to the house, I found 2 of the Gleitzel relatives, older people, sitting wide-eyed in the kitchen, said Ed. Just from the look of them, I knew something had happened. I walked into the living room, and the rocking chair was going back and forth full tilt. No one was sitting in it. As terrifying as that is, the current owner said that at the time of David Gleitzel's possession, the chair was also known to disappear and then reappear somewhere else in the house. When the possession of David and Arn was over, it was thought that some of that evil energy got absorbed into the chair, causing a permanent curse to be on it. It is said that now anyone who sits in the chair will get back pain and back problems, and one person that sat in the chair had to actually have back surgery to try to alleviate his pain caused by the chair. But that's not all the bad things that happened with the chair. According to Mr. Baggins, when the Devil's Rocking Chair was first opened, the exhibit, none of the staff knew that it was being opened that day. 5 or 6 of the employees of Baggins began crying without a reason. And on another instance, a woman fainted on the stairs right above the compartment where the chair is kept. The wooden door to the display will open on its own, and various electronic voice phenomenon, or EVPs, have been recorded. All this is confirmed through video evidence by the security cameras. It is also said that being in the presence of the object, people will feel cold spots and a very uncomfortable feeling of someone watching them. They also have claimed they've been touched, and they'll even have nightmares once they go home. The exhibit concerned Mr. Baggins so much that he temporarily closed the exhibit in July 2019 for a short while, about a week. During an interview with Zach Bagans inside the Devil's Rocking Chair exhibit, Kevin Frazier from Entertainment Tonight had his own experience that left him visibly shaken to the point that he had to walk out on the interview for a second. He claimed to feel tightness and pain in his lower back after he jokingly made a comment about touching the chair. When Mr. Baggins talked to him again during his 4-part Ghost Adventures quarantine special, where he and his small team of 4 were locked into the museum during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, about the chair, he said that he never experienced anything like that before. During the Ghost Adventures quarantine special, Mr. Baggins did sit in the chair briefly and felt ill later that night, but he did do multiple experiments with different powerful objects in the museum that could have caused him to feel so ill, and no one has heard if he has had any lasting effects from this specific experiment. So, would you sit in the Devil's Rocking Chair? Do you think that the curse is real or just some sort of mass hysteria? Thank you for watching the video to the end, and thank you for all your support. I really do appreciate it. Bye-bye.